Greetings, Ashen the comic book hunter, here for another comic book hunt. So, this is a bit of an odd week. I don't know if there will be a traditional comic book hunt next week, considering that pretty much the comic book industry is on hold. But that aside, let me go ahead and tell you about what I will be doing tonight on the comic book hunt. I'm going to talk to you about comics I picked up this past week. I'm going to do a bit of a review of them for you and tell you what I thought, tell you if you should, suggest if you should pick them up or not. And there's only going to be one other portion to this evening, and that will be me telling you about comics that you still can put your money into and will eventually come to you. Crowdfunded comics. So I'm going to promote some crowdfunded comics for you after I'm done doing this. And hopefully one day comics will be back up and running again and the show can commence as usual. So there is one little hitch tonight. YouTube is acting incredibly strange. So if you are in the chat, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to see what you say to me. So that's just a little bit of a warning. I do appreciate you being here. I appreciate you and anyone who watches this afterwards. But unfortunately, the chat is a no-go tonight. And I guess it's because YouTube is running on a skeleton crew. And unfortunately, a lot of people are having trouble with live streaming. But let us get going. The first comic I have for you this evening is Batman, Curse of the White Knight. Yes. This has been such an excellent series. The last issue, number 7, was it was a little rough. It was probably the most rough issue out of any of them. But this really made up for it. It ended the series on a solid note, or rather this volume of it on a solid note. And I'm very happy. Let me show you a little bit of the art from the inside. Here we have Azrael and Batman showing off and fighting in the flames with some swords. It's pretty badass. And like this whole book is just so cool. And I'm happy to see where the story went and how this clashing of blades was the final duel that ends a historic feud that goes all the way back. It's really quite incredible how everything builds up to this moment, and I've really enjoyed the ride. It's interesting to see Batman, acting more like the Punisher and feeling like he has to kill in order to end this situation, and it's just so many twists and turns, and you don't know what's going to happen until the very end. So if you haven't been reading this series, I highly recommend you check it out, but at this point I'd probably just wait for the trade paperback. Even if everything closes down, I think we'll still be getting things like trade paperbacks on Amazon and stuff like that. So fear not, this series will be here for you. But yes, very satisfied. Sean Gordon Murphy, I'm on board with anything else he might do. Unfortunately, I'm not about digital stuff, so if these companies decide to go towards digital, I will not be picking that stuff up. But I do think that we will always be given some kind of an option. All right, let's go to the next book. What will it be? Wolverine Yes. Wolverine has been a fun series so far. The first issue had 2 stories, and this one just follows up on one of those 2 stories. It is it's very well told, and there are some really cool things that happen in this issue. It's more of a build up for things to come, and him dealing with the repercussions, Logan dealing with the repercussions of everything that happened at the end of the last issue, and us finding out some new stuff. And it's just, I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm enjoying this series so far, and I can't help but wonder if the next issue is going to follow up on the second storyline with the vampires, because this one is all about the first one, where it looks like something along the lines of Old Man Logan happens, and he wakes up, he was being controlled, and he accidentally killed his teammates, much like in the Old Man Logan storyline. But with how the X-Men is nowadays, death is just a temporary setback. So I don't know if it's going to have that much of an impact on him or not, but we'll see what happens. It's definitely an interesting story so far. And, Wolverine being easily controlled, I know some people might have a little bit of an issue with that. But if it's the capability of the antagonist, then and nobody could stand up against it, or almost nobody, then it is what it is. But I am enjoying it so far, and let me show you a little bit of the art from the inside. This is Wolverine fighting Sabretooth, and he is giving him a stab through the chest. And I just love how everyone's muscly like they should be, and Sabretooth really looks like Sabretooth should. He's not that weak. Hey dudes, we're X-Force, man, or whatever. We're X whatever, Project X or whatever. A Weapon X. Whoa, dudes, we're Weapon X. That's what it is. It took me a second. There's so many freaking X things. Yeah, he's not that guy. He's like the real Sabretooth. Look at that. The one that Wolverine was terrified of and had to fight desperately with over the years. But yeah, so that's cool to see everyone in their proper form. But yeah, it's a fun story. If you enjoy Wolverine and enjoy the X-Men, I would check this out. And let us get on to the next title. Here we go. Ravencroft number 3. Yes, we go from Wolverine number 2 to Ravencroft number 3. This was a real fun read. I'm enjoying this story so much. Much like a lot of the other titles, like Batman, Curse of the White Knight, the last issue was a bit of a letdown. It just seemed to be like that cycle of books were like kind of iffy. But they are picking back up, and I'm so happy to see that. Ravencroft is like a very macabre, very fun story, and I'm really interested in seeing where they go with it. In this issue, as you could see, they have captured somebody. Who's that? Oh, that's Frank Castle. They have Frank Castle in the Ravencroft Insane Asylum. Look at that. Kingpin is in charge here too. And check out Taskmaster. Looking badass. Yes, he actually is in this series as a guard. Man, Kingpin really has those deep pockets. But Taskmaster is one of my favorite kind of, I don't know what you call him, a neutral party, an anti-hero. I don't know, just a mercenary for hire. He'll pretty much do anything for cash. Always love him, though. He's always a great character to have around when he's used properly. And they do use him properly in this book. And I enjoyed to see Taskmaster actually being kind of badass. Because, in reality, he would wipe the floor with Frank Castle. No offense. I mean, he is somebody that should be feared, that can adapt to any style in almost no time. Yes, there is a reason that they pay him the big bucks. But yeah, this is a fun story. We still got that whole story about the monsters that live in Caveworks under Ravencroft, that we're not sure really what their plan is yet, but it seems like they want something to do with the new facility. It's really cool, and it's really exciting, and I'm enjoying, like, they build some nice characters in here. The only problem I have with this book is some of the 3D modeling, like especially when they show some faces, it's very clear it's 3D models, and some of the poses just don't look quite right. But the artist does a pretty good job of blending the two. You know, it's actually a minor complaint because I'm really enjoying this book series. And if you got to cheat a little bit to, produce a good quality book, I mean, it's mostly about storytelling for me. But yeah, it's real fun. All right. Now let's get on to our final book of the evening. This is one that I missed. I missed this when it first came out, so I got the trade paperback of the first volume, and here it is. Coffin Bound. Yes. Coffin Bound. This is where it's at. This is a great story here. Let me go ahead and show you some of the art in the book. Here we have Izzy, excuse me. Here we have Izzy, and she is somebody of ill repute. She has quite a sordid history, and when people are sent out to kill her, she doesn't take that kindly, but she does come to find out that there is somebody unsightly that is coming for her, and her little companion here is the Vulture, or a Vulture. He's sort of a harbinger of death. He's pretty interesting. He's just kind of a neutral party who tags along with her, and it's kind of interesting to get to know him and while he's with her, because she constantly has the threat of death looming over her for now. It's a very artistically written book. If you read the dialogue and stuff like that, it's unusual. It's almost like reading Old English or something like that with how it's written. Let's see. This, my friends, is the Earth Eater. And this guy is crazy. He's sort of like an earth elemental, and he can eat the earth, and it could tell him things about areas. And he also has the power to control the earth and various things just because it's sort of part of his being. It's almost like he's a manifestation of the post-apocalyptic future this represents. It's sort of like a Mad Max future, you know, like the first movie where the whole world's not technically destroyed, but it's definitely might makes right kind of an area. And here we have it. We have some pretty cool stuff going on. Like I said, this future is pretty messed up, and people get involved with some bad things. And as you can see here, this is Izzy about to smash the face of this guy, and he's a sort of a bad fellow. He belongs to a group that harvests pieces of people. They kill people and harvest their body parts and use it on their own, like Frankenstein people, to prolong their own lives. Really interesting storytelling. I would highly recommend it if you like horror. This is sort of like a poetic version of something that Clive Barker would write, and mixed with Mad Max levels of violence. It's quite interesting. I've never seen anything like it. And the end was, well, let's just say the end is something that leaves you wanting more. Like, I hope that there will be a volume 2. I hope that this sold well enough. And if it ends where it ends, then that's fine. It's a good enough story as it is, but it does leave you wanting to continue more into this world and with these characters, just to see what else could happen. So that's all I have to say about that. And like I said, there is only 2 things to talk about this evening. So next up is going to be me promoting some indie comics, a lot of interesting things. I cast out the net, and if anybody who is an indie creator wants to say, hey, please promote this project, then I try to do it. But once again, now that we're in the center, I just want to leave a little note. If you are in the chat, unfortunately, because YouTube is acting up, I am unable to read any messages or anything like that. I do appreciate you being here, and I appreciate anyone who watches this afterwards, but unfortunately YouTube is giving a lot of people a lot of trouble, and I still need to get this video out. This is my 3rd attempt today because the other ones got all messed up. So let's go on and check out some indie comics. Let's hunt for some indie comics. What we have here first is demon hunter Raven. After fusing with an ancient holy relic, Adam joins a group of demon hunters to guard his city from the plague of demons that infest it. I was reading through this. It seems like an interesting story. Like, I don't know if this is the correct character or not, but Adam looks a little bit like Cain to me. I don't know if that's 100% the character or not, but you know, the one who's a vampire and he's missing his lower jaw. So it looks like kind of like that character in white clothes. It's pretty cool though. And kind of, you want to go into his backstory a little more. As a child, he had the ability to see ghosts and stuff like that, and for a long time that tortured him. But then he learned to embrace it, and now he's going to use his gifts to try and fight evil. So it's a pretty cool premise for a character. As you can see here, there's only 9 days left, and they're only at $343. So if you want to check out this project, only 24 backers. They only have a $500 goal. So if you want to get a pretty interesting look at a new character, who knows what could happen with this, then please head over to Kickstarter. I believe it's on Kickstarter. All the links are in the description below, so you don't have to go searching yourself. Just click on it, check it out, and if you like it, please give them a little looky. Little money on the side. Yeah, a little money. Then we have SpellBound 2 Escape, a young adult fantasy comic series. SpellBound 2 Escape continues Becca's story as she is stranded in a realm of magic and monsters, and introducing greater perils. So this story is a little. I was reading about it, and it's sort of a blend. You know, it's a woman from our normal realm of existence being thrust into a fantasy realm. And the interesting thing about this realm is that your soul has abilities, and you could do things like harm or heal, all kinds of stuff. So it adds a very interesting element that your soul actually possesses traits that you can use for or against people. This is the second book in the series, but if this kind of stuff, like if you're into D&D or fantasy or anything like that, then you might want to check this out. The first book is available here, and I was looking through it, and they do have the second book as well up now. So you can get all that as a pack, do whatever you want, support as much as you want or not. I really like the art. It's a little cartoony, but it's very expressive, so I enjoyed that aspect of it. And if this interests you, please go ahead and check them out. Thank you. Next up, we have Legends of the Lone Wolf. Yes, this is a great series from Doug Garrett. I got the first comic. This is a standalone. You don't need the first comic. This is a sort of a compilation book. It has an anthology, has a number of different stories. I believe it's over 100 pages in this book, and there's so many options and so many interesting things to check out in this. Some of the art is absolutely incredible too, if you've looked through this. But Doug Garrett, he's a good guy. Earned $7,300 on this campaign, so that's really good. I know it's going to be shipping soon. He's going to be closing this out. So if you get a chance, you should really check this out. Lone Wolf is a Native American, and he is immortal. He's been living for like 200 years, and he is a hunter of evil. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a nice basic story, but it has it's all the details that make it just work so well. All the intricacies, I should say. So yeah, go check that out. Next up, we have Secret Comics Presents by my man, Nasser Abadi. Now, this is a horror anthology, 4 stories, and he's already created several books. He did Stardust, which was an excellent sci-fi horror tale. Trixie Kane, that's a vampire series, and that's quite interesting. And let me tell you something. Nasser knows horror, so if you like horror, this guy's going to make you some interesting tales. He does videos all the time on his own channel talking about all the movies he watches and whatnot, and I'm sure that helps inspire him and refine his craft. Now, he needs to get up to $6,000, and he's only about a third of the way there. So if you can help out Nasser, get his book, everything he's selling, very reasonably priced. I really want to get this. I'm already in on this. He's delivered and delivered. He does novels, all kinds of stuff. Please go and check him out. Please support, because I'd really like to get this book. It's me being a little selfish. Then we have Jack Irons, The Steel Cowboy, issue number 3. These people who do this series, Cody, they do a fantastic job. They've delivered the first and second book already in this campaign. We're up to number 3 in the story. The first book really kind of establishes the character and the world that they live in. The second book sets up like the universe, all the characters in there, how the world is functioning in the far-flung future, sort of an apocalypse-y time. And it's great. It's nice and established. There's a lot of lore. And the third book is going to go into a new conflict. So all the pawns are set up, and now we need to see where they move. But it's definitely going to be interesting, action-packed. There was some pretty good violence, especially in the first issue, and the second issue had some interesting, once again, Mad Max style action in it, which was pretty neat. But these people, they got a $10,000 goal, which is kind of high, but honestly, like I'm looking into creating books and everything like that, and with all the expenses that go into stuff like this, it's actually quite reasonable. Like, and between getting the bags and boards and shipping things and extra protection and all the extra items that they put into things and getting people to write and draw and ink and color, is extremely expensive. So if you could help these people out, I would appreciate it. I'm also on this, and I've already helped and put my 2 cents in. So please, if you are interested in interesting apocalyptic action, another immortal cowboy, this time wandering the future wastelands of the earth. So yeah, there you go. Please go check it out. Like I said, all the links are in the description below. Anything here caught your attention, I know any of these people would appreciate a little help. That's not saying you have to do anything. I know that everyone's kind of in a hard time right now. And the last but not least here, I just want to talk to you about this comic, which is Dusk versus Cheerleader Karate School. Now, this is a crossover of indie characters, and this is not out yet. This is me just giving you a little bit of a preview. You can check out the link in the description to go check out the Kickstarter, but it's not up yet. It's just kind of a preview of it. But yeah, it looks like a pretty interesting story. I don't really know any of the characters or anything like that, but it looks like when this goes up, they're going to be having the digital back issues that you can get. For me, it kind of sucks a little bit because I'm all about those physical copies. But if you just really want to get right to this story and you want to have nice, easy viewing of the digital stuff that they'll probably send immediately, then go ahead and check that out. This sounds like it would work out. But yeah, it looks, the art in the book itself is pretty cool. The cover's definitely cool. I mean, I'm really digging it. So, if this is your fancy, then wait with bated breath as they eventually release this. Yes. All right. Well, I want to just say thank you to everyone who watches this, my regulars and new people that stop in. It all helps. I'm trying to build my channel. It's not easy, especially with how turbulent the world is right now and everything's closing down and whatnot. It's kind of a scary time, but all of us, all we can do is just try to stay strong and try to keep each other uplifted. That's not what some people are doing online right now. I'm looking at all these comics pros that are, the industry's collapsing around them at the moment, and they're just going out with a bang, spitting on the fans and doing all this stuff. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It is. But with all that aside, I don't like to talk too much drama on here. I appreciate all of you, and let's try to remain positive. And I hope I gave you a little bit of entertainment and a little bit of insight, and maybe showed you a few new options. And I really do hope that you all have a great evening. Yes.